this is update for January 7, 2024, day 683 of the war, and of the date update also catch up for January 5 and 6. It's a holiday season in Ukraine and Russia, generally due to the Orthodox Christmas. So things generally quiet. Just heads up what's going on, with obvious exception of the exchanges of the missile attacks and so on. But that is on the lower end, let's put this way, this couple days relative to where it used to be. Again, I'm not commenting on those because they're really not deciding the fate of this war. That just in some ways just propaganda distraction on both sides. But first, before we jump into walks through the front line, I just want to share with you some interesting observations. So this is a Russian Panzer. This is anti-missile, anti-aircraft system. And the reason I'm showing it is not because of the system itself, but because I want to show you a mistake that Russian military did collectively, the top, by using actually wheeled base for fairly heavy truck, piece of equipment. So you see it's stuck in Ukraine, not literally on the battlefield, but somewhere in Russian rear, and they couldn't get it out. So this is generally a problem. That's why I was referring when I was talking about anything that's wheeled. It's a problem, generally speaking, sooner or later, and it's just going to happen in the most inopportune moment. So Russia is actually changing pretty quick, and this is the same thing but already tracked, as you can see. So the lesson here is actually two lessons. One is anything that's wheeled is a problem, and when Ukraine gets those wheeled self-propelled howitzers, and actually builds itself those as well, start building, it's a big mistake that eventually will lead to a problem down the road. And the second lesson from this is that Russia learns quickly, or fairly quickly. Obviously, it takes, it's not World War II quickly, but it learns. And unfortunately, I cannot say that for Ukraine. It's still all wheeled, prefer because it's actually a little bit cheaper. So again, it's just this, what's it called? I think it's penny wise, dollar fool, or something like that. That's the best description of this approach in this situation. And the other problem is that Ukraine is not competitive to Russia, even though Russia is not the most competitive country at all, not even close. But Ukraine has to change a lot, as I said before, and it all starts from at the Ukrainian political top. A little bit another update on this new mobilization law. So the mobilization law is the original one is not going to be passed in the parliament. So there will be some kind of, compromise. Again, as I said, nobody wants to be responsible. So we'll see what happens there in the coming days. I think it's in a couple days they plan to pass it. So I'll provide update. Now I'm going to walk through the front line in a clockwise fashion, as I always do. As I said before, the situation is generally fairly quiet. The situation along the state border is also quiet. There are rumors that Russia is going to do another attack towards Kharkiv. I think it's actually mostly circulating in the Western media. I would say I'm very skeptical on that. Russia has reserves. There is no question about it. But the problem is that they kind of need it, because if they use them up, then they become exposed. And at this moment, I don't think they feel that Ukraine is completely exhausted. They do wait for that moment, and I'm sure that they're preparing for the sort of final blow eventually. But I don't think that they assess that the moment is there yet. Okay, now let's jump to the North Luhansk front line. Things here also fairly quiet, like I would say very quiet. There's little pressure from north towards north east of Kupiansk, a little bit towards Terny, but it's all very, very low level activity. Now let's move to situation on the North Donbass front line. Northern sector is always quiet, nothing really happening there at all. And then even southern, as you can see, there's just very couple very weak attacks. So as everybody sort of call it, celebrating. Now let's move to the central Donbass front line. Things here are also fairly subdued. Yes, there's still pressure, but this is kind of like a top priority for Russian command. So they, day and night they keep pressure, because they believe that that pressure eventually will yield result, and they will be able to capture Avdiivka. So far, no meaningful movements here at all. It's been pretty static for quite a while. Also, Russian pressure towards Novomykhailivka. The same situation here. After, if you remember, after capturing Marinka, Russian troops started attacking in the southwestern direction towards Mikhailivka. It was the idea of cutting off this peninsula. However, there were some advances initially, but everything stalled, and also it's essentially stalemate at this point. Now let's look at Zaporizhya front line, which is generally pretty quiet. Nothing really happening here. There are some very, I would say, probing reconnaissance attacks, but here around Robotyne area, but generally it's quiet and no real movements there. Now let's finish with the situation along the Dnipro River. Things here also quiet, nothing major going on. So as a summary, as I said before, it's a holiday season in Ukraine. Okay, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye.